Welcome to a deep dive, and this time we're tackling something juicy. Apples.
Sounds delicious. Are we making a pie?
Well, you did send me the Apple Fruit Galaxy,
Oh, right.
and it's way more than recipes, honestly.
Yeah, because deep, like really deep into where apples come from.
I was surprised, honestly. Like, they started in the Tian Shan Mountains.
Yeah, in Central Asia, way back like thousands of years ago.
Crazy, I never knew that.
Then they traveled along, the Silk Road, heading west. And get this, they mixed with, well, basically other types of apples along the way. Like cross-pollinating and creating new varieties.
So that's why there are so many kinds of apples. Wow.
Exactly. It's like a natural experiment over centuries.
The book talks about like 10 different kinds. Some sound amazing, like Honeycrisp. They're described as sunset-colored and super crisp.
Oh yeah, Honeycrisp are good. Almost fizzy the way they crunch.
I gotta try one. I'm more of a Granny Smith fan.
Classics. The book mentions they're great for baking because of how tart they are.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Speaking of baking, they said Red Delicious. Even though everybody loves them, they kind of fall apart when you bake with them.
Not the best for pie, then.
Right. So that all ties back to, like, why different apples exist, right?
Right.
Some for eating, some for cooking.
Oh, they're breeding them for different purposes
Yeah.
for a long, long time.
So, okay, science time. I learned something new. Apples are pome fruits. What in the world does that even mean?
So most fruits, the part we eat is like the ripened ovary of the flower, right?
I guess so.
But pomes, like apples, pears too,
Yeah.
we're eating that ovary and the stuff around it, which gets all fleshy and good.
Wow. Never thought of it like that. Mind blown.
Right.
Okay, but the health benefits in this book, 10 of them. Some were a surprise, like apples are good for your brain.
It's true. They've got antioxidants, and some studies show those might help protect against, like, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's.
Seriously, that's amazing.
It is.
They seem good for just about everything, even like your lungs.
Yeah, some research is pointing to that. Might reduce asthma risk, but, more studies needed and all that.
Fingers crossed. Oh, and if you want whiter teeth, eat an apple. Who knew?
Natural toothbrush, kinda.
Mm-hmm.
The texture scrubs, plus the chewing makes saliva, which washes stuff away.
Handy. I mean, I knew apples were good for you.
But there's so much more to it.
This book is full of surprises. Apples are pretty awesome, it seems.
Hmm.
But this book, it's honest, too. Like, it talks about the not-so-good stuff, which I like, you know. Gotta be thorough.
Right. Getting the whole picture.
One thing was, what was it called? Fructose malabsorption?
Yeah, some people have trouble with that.
Like apples upset their stomach.
Basically, yeah. Fructose is a sugar, naturally in fruit, apples included. But some folks, their bodies just don't absorb it well.
So even though apples are healthy overall, they might not be for everyone.
Exactly. Good reminder that we're all different.
Makes sense. Okay, then there's the pesticide thing. Always a worry with produce.
For sure. Conventionally grown apples, yeah, they can have pesticide residue on the skin. The book doesn't, list out the exact amounts or anything.
Still, something to think about.
Definitely. Especially if you eat the peel. Goes back to that organic point earlier.
Right, right. Informed choices and all that. Okay, I gotta ask. The apple seed thing.
Cyanide.
That's the one. Always freaked me out a little.
Yeah, that myth gets around. But the book, it debunks it pretty well.
Yeah.
It is true. Apple seeds have this compound, tiny amount that releases cyanide when digested.
So they're cyanide.
But here's the thing. You'd have to eat, a ridiculous number of seeds to have any bad effects.
Oh, thank goodness. Phew. All right, another debate. Red versus green apples. Which is really better for you?
The age-old question.
Right. The book breaks it down. Green ones have a tad more vitamin A. Red ones a bit more in the antioxidants. But overall...
Pretty minimal difference nutritionally. Both are packed with good stuff, fiber, vitamins, minerals.
So red or green just comes down to what you like. Tart or sweet.
Exactly. You can't go wrong.
Okay, this blew my mind. China, they eat almost half LF the world's apples.
44.9%, if we're being exact. Wild.
It really is. And it makes you think about how far apples have come from those mountains in Central Asia.
To a global phenomenon. Amazing when you consider it. Those wild apples evolving over centuries and now enjoyed by billions.
It really puts things in perspective. And it leads me to a question. Given how far apples have come and how popular they are and now W, what's next for apples? I mean, where do they go from here?
That's the big question, huh? The apple fruit galaxy, it touches on that too. Like researchers, they're always trying to make new types of apples. Better ones.
Better how?
More resistant to, bugs and diseases,
Hmm.
or maybe able to grow in different climates, places they couldn't before.
That's cool. Do you think we'll ever get apples that are like specifically engineered for brain health, building on all that antioxidant stuff?
Could happen. The book talks about how they're working on flavor, too, and nutrition.
Hmm.
So, yeah, maybe apples with even more of those brain-boosting things.
Wow. But while we're making all these fancy new apples, gotta think about the planet too, right?
Absolutely. Sustainability is huge. The book, it stresses that farming practices that don't use too much water or pesticides.
Finding that balance, huh? Between feeding everyone A&D, not messing things up.
That's it, exactly. It's a challenge, but an important one.
Oh, I gotta say, this deep dive into apples, thanks to the Apple Fruit Galaxy, it's been eye-opening.
Me too. You
Yeah.
just don't think about how complex an apple is, you
Well,
know?
right. It's not just a fruit, it's this whole story going back thousands of years.
Part of history, science, culture.
I'll never look at an apple the same way again. Thanks for exploring this with me.
My pleasure. And hey, listeners, this is just the start, you know?
Keep learning, keep asking questions.
Who knows what other deep dives are out there waiting to be discovered?